Good morning, Facebook. Good to see you guys. Hopefully, you're starting to tune in. This is Kelly and Joan. We got both of us this morning. So, I made a joke yesterday. She didn't watch the class yesterday, but at the end of class, I said maybe I can wrangle my mom into coming in for another class. So, we got her. She's here. We're happy about it. It's really hot out, it's humid. So, just a quick reminder to take this class with any modifications that you choose. Drink lots of water. It's been very hot and humid these last couple days, so our body is going to be moving and reacting differently to this practice. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. You know, we do live in an area that is fluctuating with temperature, so that means that every morning or whenever you choose to do your yoga, it's a totally different experience than it was the day before. So just a quick reminder on that. There might be a couple extra child's pose for you this morning, or maybe you want to bump it up a notch and you love the heat and you want to sweat a little more. Whatever is calling your name. A couple of other quick announcements. You guys know by now we come live to you every morning at 9 a.m. without fail. And if you ever don't see us, it might just mean that we're running through some technical difficulties. Just keep refreshing that page, and we are 100% dedicated to providing you guys with some free yoga every morning. In addition, we come live to you through Instagram as well. So if you have any family members that are looking for, they don't use Facebook, but they prefer Instagram, let them know that we're still streaming there as well. And then the best part of all of this is that Facebook actually archives our videos, so you don't have to be here right at 9 a.m. If it's not working for you, you can come later in the day. You can even revisit other classes. We have some Bikram up there, some Baptiste, some Power, some classic Barkin. So please, if you're not looking for the class that's being broadcasted of the day, go back and revisit one of our old videos. We're also putting all of this content on YouTube as well. So we're cultivating our YouTube channel. We want to make it nice and strong with a lot of wonderful content, different types of classes, different teachers. So if you are friendly with YouTube, go ahead and check out Mystic Fitness there. You can also send these videos to your family members that don't like to use social media. Maybe they're a little bit older and they don't want to use Facebook or Instagram, or maybe they're younger and they don't want to use it. Whatever the case is, YouTube is a great option for them. So I know we've said before, Deba Mitra sends her YouTube classes to her mother in India, and she's able to see her daughter teach. So that's really awesome. We're also taking donations, but in no way are they necessary. And we're asking if you feel financially stable and you feel moved to, absolutely you can make a donation using our Mystic Fitness Venmo account. And you can either opt into getting one of our handmade masks by Mary Beth. They have an elastic band for your ears, and they are reusable, washable, very comfortable to wear. Or you can opt into getting one of our studio props like our blocks, mats, towels, yogitos, straps. I mean, you name it, and I'm sure we can make it work for you guys. That's kind of our MO here is, doing what we can to serve our community and taking things on a person-to-person basis. So thank you guys so much for your continued support. I can honestly speak from my heart and say that I would not be able to make it through without this platform to kind of communicate with you guys. So if you're here this morning, go ahead and say good morning. I'd love to see your little icons pop up and address you guys personally. So let's go ahead and get started. It's 9:03, time to move. And again, just another quick announcement. It is really hot these last couple days, so if you need to modify or chill out on your mat at any time, please take that. Please, do what feels best for your body. This is a hot couple past days and very humid, so if you need to drink extra water, take a break throughout your practice, this is all welcome here. You don't have to do all the crazy chaturangas and all those things. You can always just hit a child's pose, take a break. All right, so we're going to come onto our mats, either seated or laying down, whatever you kind of resonate with the most this morning. You can also find a child's pose, or who knows, maybe you're seated on a chair this morning. Anywhere where you can just kind of tap into your breath. You can take a couple wiggles as you arrive, making sure you have a nice long spine and the neck can be slightly relaxed here. Notice if your muscles in the face are kind of contracting and your brow is kind of furrowed, and just kind of relax the face. and allowing breath to come in and out. Let this process of inhales and exhales just kind of feed you. And breath at the beginning of our class is so important to prepare our lungs, prepare our mind. And the more we meditate, the more we find this place of resting, the easier it becomes to kind of drop in. And meditation is like a muscle within your mind. It's the same way we work our muscles in our physical body and work our biceps and quads, glutes. Yoga is also a practice of strengthening within the mind as well. And another huge component of our yoga practice is finding a gentle surrender into these postures. And for a while, for me, surrender symbolized defeat. And I never wanted to surrender, because I did not want to show that I was weak. But I've come to learn that surrendering is actually the opposite of defeat. It's using your strength and knowing when to just kind of surrender to the flow of life. Knowing when to choose the times to fight and be strong. Knowing when to surrender. Just let life kind of unfold naturally. And part of this practice is kind of balancing between surrender and strengthening and stability. It's that yin yang of the universe, these two opposites that, when used together, create a beautiful foundation of balance and peace. Take another deep breath in and let it go. Again, in and out. Slowly starting to reawaken through the fingers and toes. And just taking the next 5 breaths, whether you're laying down or in a seated position, to just kind of take any organic movements that feel good. So maybe some reaching of the arms overhead and extending the legs down the mat. Maybe pulling the knees into the chest, giving yourself a squeeze. Perhaps if you're in a seated position, just kind of wrapping your arms around your shoulders and kind of giving yourself a little squeeze here. Or even taking a gentle fold by letting your chest just kind of fall over your legs. Rocking of the head side to side, rotating at the wrists. And if you are laying down, allow these movements to kind of softly bring you into your seat where we will begin practice together. Once you arrive, taking the palms together and rubbing them a couple times, and notice the energy that kind of builds within the palms, the heat, the sensations, the waking up of the nerve endings of the hands. And then taking that and placing it right over your heart. Noticing the energy transfer from palms into your chest and chest into your palms. Very subtle, but very profound. We'll begin our practice this morning with the sound of Om, starting with a cleansing breath to prepare. Inhale and exhale. And for Om, in breath. And that first breath after Om sets the stage for a brand new beginning. Have a wonderful practice. With the inhale, circle sweep, arms reach up. And then with the exhale, just pull all of that energy down to your heart center. 2 more here. Inhale, big sweep up. Maybe your gaze follows. And exhale, pull that energy towards your heart. Last big one, sweep open through your chest, shoulders, arms. And exhale, hands to heart. Opening the arms into goal pose and then just creating some rotations through the wrists. So it's very important that we start this process of warming up our hands and shoulders because normally they're not weight-bearing joints, but because we're coming on to our hands and knees and our downward facing dog, we want to really warm them up. So open and close the palms a couple times like you're squeezing a stress ball. Remember those stress balls? They were like filled with sand. And then giving them a shake. And then just creating some gentle movement through your shoulders. So if you like to take one shoulder at a time, or maybe bring the fingertips towards the shoulders, or maybe they're just big sweeping circles. And to make sure you're taking them forward and backward. And when you're ready, we'll transition into our table pose. So take your time to arrive. And if table pose is not really feeling welcome yet, you can stay in a seated position and find some gentle movements there. With the inhale, dropping the chest, gazing forward, finding your cow position, opening your throat. And with the exhale, curling and rounding as you press the floor away for your cat position. So inhale, we're arching and opening. Exhale, curling and rounding. And it's interesting as we come onto our hands and knees like this. This is actually the first way we really learned how to move is through crawling when we're babies. This is our first way of transportation. So it's a very primal sort of feeling here as we're on hands and knees. And you can kind of connect to that emotion and that sensation and let your body just kind of move in that kind of primal way. So just kind of tapping into your intuitive nature and letting your body flow. This is really the true practice of yoga, right? Is kind of just listening to your body and letting it move in whatever way feels best. And you can start to come into some more organic movement, perhaps taking some pelvic bowl circles or just starting with some little semicircles towards the back of your mats. Just checking in, saw a couple people comment. Good morning, you guys. We have Brenda and Gayatri. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, maybe you can let me know. All right, thank you guys so much. I hope you're enjoying some movement. You can take some presses back and forth, maybe alternating between a child's pose and then gently kind of pressing your way forward to a very supported upward facing dog motion, keeping those knees planted on the earth. And if you are taking something in one direction, make sure you go ahead and take it in the other direction. Know that you can always drop down onto your forearms if your wrists are feeling a little sensitive. Once you've found some movement through those hips, let this carry you into your child's pose. So eventually just sinking your hips back. Knees can be close together or very far from one another. Arms can be in front of you with the palms on the ground, or maybe you want to bring your hands underneath your forehead as a little support. Finding this restful pose here, this kind of humbling and bowing towards the earth, showing our reverence for this experience. And just a reminder that in your class this morning, if you're ever feeling too hot or you need a break, a child's pose is a beautiful way to kind of take a break and come back into your breath. And again, it's that idea of finding the strength in surrender. So if you need to surrender, just let yourself surrender and be a part of the flow of the universe. One more breath here. Returning back up into your table pose. We'll find a little core activation here by coming into a flat back. And I want you to spread your fingers wide and kind of press your fingertips into the earth, kind of like you're a little tree frog, kind of trying to grasp onto the ground. Tuck the toes under and lift the knees to just a hover. So notice how your core starts to squeeze inward, almost like a corset kind of snuggling you in. But breath is natural here. So it's very common when we squeeze through our abdominals that we want to constrict our breath. But I want you to squeeze those abdominals without letting that breath be constricted. Let it move freely. One more inhale. And with the exhale, hips pull up and back, downward facing dog. Start to walk your dog here by bending and extending, dropping one heel to the earth and then picking the other heel up. And of course, if downward dog isn't your jam this morning, you can always stay in that table pose a bit longer. Make sure the shoulders are pulling down and away from the ears. Just taking some gentle movements through the hamstrings. And this is also a beautiful way to kind of check in with what's feeling tight within the body. So for some reason this morning, my calves and quads are a little tight. So I'm going to make sure I take extra care of that. What are you guys feeling this morning? What's tight? What needs a little love? Shake the head yes and no a couple times. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward, and exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, finding a forward fold, keeping a deep bend in the knees to start. Perhaps bringing your forearms onto your thighs as a little extra added support here for the lower back, or perhaps getting deeper into those hamstrings. Maybe you want to grab onto opposite elbows and find that ragdoll position. And a gentle swaying from side to side kind of allows this stretch to move through the backs of the legs. Really shake the head, yes and no, to release any tension of the neck. So all day long, we're using our neck to carry our big head around. We want to give it a break. We got a lot of precious merchandise inside the head, so you really got to give it a break here. Inhale for your halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, arms, circle, sweep up, reach to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart. Ground here with the inhale. And exhale. Inhale, arms, circle, sweep up. And exhale, hinging from the hips, finding your forward folds. Inhale for a halfway lift. Squeeze through your belly and grow through the crown of your head. And exhale, fold. Hands plant, stepping one foot at a time back into your plank pose. Beautiful. So holding strong in your plank. You can always drop those knees to the ground here. Heels are pressing back. And we're kind of gently pressing our chest forward. That way our hips are going to be in line with the shoulders. Inhale. And with the exhale, we're all going to drop those knees to the ground and then let the chest follow with the elbows pointing back, chaturanga. Inhale for your low cobra. Start to press and peel that chest up. Shoulder blades are coming towards one another, pulling away from the ears. Chin is gently tucked. Squeeze those glutes and quads. And exhale, release. Making your way back to your downward facing dog, perhaps finding a table pose along the way. So that's the first version of our chaturanga. You can always drop those knees to the ground and find a low cobra, or you can go for your full style chaturanga. Take another breath in your downward facing dog. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. And exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward folds. Shake the head, yes and no here. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up, grow tall. And exhale, hands to heart. We're going to come into a little movement that I introduced yesterday. So if you're joining us from yesterday, you're already ahead of the game, right? You already know where we're going. But if not, then this is a great opportunity for you to learn something new. And again, this is only my second day of cueing it, so it's new for me too. So it's all good. So you want to walk to the back edge of your mat. And we're going to take our right foot forward and come into a crescent lunge. So the right foot is forward. We're on the back ball of the left foot, and we have a gentle bend through that left knee. So the progression of this movement is going to look something like this. With the inhale, we extend. And with the exhale, we're going to dip and twist to the right. Inhale, reach up. Here's where it changes. We're going to step the left foot forward and dip and twist to the left. So we're kind of following that front knee with our twist. All right, here we go. We're going to reach up, send that left foot back, dip and twist to the right. Inhale, step left foot forward, dip and twist to the left. Inhale, lift, step left foot back. Exhale, dip and twist to the right. You got this. Inhale, left foot forward, dip and twist. Left foot back, dip and twist. Last two. Inhale, left foot forward, dip and twist. Left foot back, dip and twist. Here's our last full round. Left foot forward, dip and twist. Left foot back, dip and twist. Inhale, rise for your crescent lunge. Reach the arms up. And with the exhale, hinge forward, hands plant in our runner's lunge. You might need to step that right foot a little bit more forward. You can bring blocks underneath the hands here. Let's just take a couple back and forth presses. You can even drop that left knee to the ground. Take some back and forth movements, bending and extending through right leg, pressing the hips forward and back. So after that kind of intense new movement, I want to kind of release any tension that built through that front right leg. And then we'll return back to our proper runner's lunge. So bend through that right knee, tuck left toes under. And then finding our hover, so pulling the chest up, palms face the ground, and fingertips pull behind you. This is our airplane lunge here. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, rise to that crescent lunge. And with the exhale, we're dialing left heel down, and we're going to open up to that warrior two position. If you need to readjust through the feet, and at any point in time throughout your class, it's so hot today, you can take a drink of water whenever you need. We're setting up our warrior two nice and strong. You can take a peek at Joan here. She has the right knee stacking with right ankle. This is very important for the strength and stability of her joints. Arms are open into a T. Take a nice deep breath in. Imagine that that throat is gently open. Inhale, flip right palm, reverse your warrior. And with the exhale, extend your warrior. Inhale to reverse. And exhale to extend. One more here. Inhale, reverse. And exhale, extend, and hold here for a moment. Let's take some rotations through that right shoulder, or left shoulder. And that right thigh can be on top of your, right elbow can be on top of the thigh, or you can find a nice full extension through the right leg. Take that motion in the opposite rotation. Legs are stable, upper body is fluid. Find your best version of your side angle for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And exhale, cartwheel hands down, back to that runner's lunge. Hands plant, right foot steps up and back for a 3-legged dog. Let's open up the hip by bending right knee and dropping that heel over towards the left side of the room. Pointing that right knee up to the sky. Take a deep breath in and out. Inhale, lengthen right leg, square your hips, and either dropping down into your downward facing dog to find your plank pose, or keeping that right leg extended and then hinging forward, plank pose for one breath in and out. Stay for the inhale. Exhale is your best version of chaturanga, so take it however you need. Inhale, upward dog or a low cobra. Nice, mom. And exhale, downward facing dog. So arguably those chaturangas are one of the most difficult things that we do in our yoga class. It's pretty much a full body workout there. And they take a while to really understand. So if you're ever curious about those chaturangas and which style is best for you, I have a little demonstration video up on Mystic and our YouTube page. Let's inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward fold. Come back to your breath in and out. Inhale for your halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Press into the feet, start to rise with the inhale. Arms reach up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Walk to the back edge of your mat. And then we're going to take those crescent lunge kind of variations here as well. And it might be way harder on one side than it is on the other. Sometimes we're more coordinated on one side than we are on the other. So just be kind and gentle with yourself. This is a new movement, right? So let's step the left foot forward this time. Come into a crescent lunge on the left side. So on the back ball of the right foot, that back right knee is gently bent to kind of create a tucking of the pelvis. With the inhale, we're reaching up. With the exhale, dip and twist to the left. Inhale, rise, step right foot forward, dip and twist to the right. Inhale, right foot steps back, dip and twist to the left. So we're kind of following that front right knee, and then stepping right foot forward, dip and twist to the right. Beautiful. Inhale, dip and twist to the left. Rise, step right foot forward, dip and twist to the right. Right foot steps back, dip and twist to the left. Right foot steps forward, dip and twist to the right. Here's our last round. Dip and twist to the left. Right foot steps forward, dip and twist to the right. We look like dancers in synchronicity. Finish it off by dipping and twisting to the left. Inhale, rise. And with the exhale, hinging forward, finding your runner's lunge. You might have to step that left foot forward. Drop the right knee to the ground and find those back and forth presses through the left leg. You can always keep that right knee lifted if that's not really your jam. We're just taking these nice back and forth presses to release any tension that started to build through that left leg. And I have to give credit, my boyfriend Patrick actually showed me those crescent lunge movements because he does something called functional patterns, which is almost like physical therapy mixed with yoga. Very cool thing. So I've been getting a lot of inspiration from him, so thank you. Let's come back into our proper runner's lunge by bending through left knee, tucking right toes under, lifting the knee up, making sure feet are hip distance apart, and then coming into your airplane lunge. So pulling the chest up, fingertips reach back with the palms facing the ground. Press into that left foot. Keep your breath moving naturally here. In and out. Inhale, rise to your crescent lunge. And with the exhale, open it up, warrior two, dialing right heel down. So we're on the warrior two on our opposite side. Left toes are facing forward. And again, we're making sure that that left knee is tracking with left ankle. So you want to make sure that the joints are stacked here to prevent any future injuries from occurring. Here's your warrior two. Breathe. Notice where your hips are located. Make sure they're not being sassy on us. Inhale, flip left palm, reverse your warrior. And with the exhale, extend your warrior. 3 more. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extend. 2. This is a great way to connect back to our breath. And one. Holding in that side angle, and then finding some beautiful rotations through that right arm. So we're opening up our chest, shoulders, upper back, even our neck a little bit here. Take those movements in the opposite rotation. So you'll notice that that lower body is strong and stable, yet upper body can be a little bit more fluid. Then find your best version of your side angle. So whatever that arm variation wants to take, hold for the inhale and exhale. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And with the exhale, cartwheel, hands down. Find your runner's lunge. Hands plant. That left foot steps up and back, three-legged dog. Open your hip by bending the knee and dropping left heel over towards the right. Inhale, square the hips, lengthen left leg. And we're coming into our plank pose, or keeping that left leg extended for a three-legged plank as we hinge our chest forward. Hold for one breath, in and out. Squeeze that left glute. Inhale. Exhale is our chaturanga. Slowly lower. Inhale, up dog, or that beautiful low cobra. And with the exhale, what do you say we take a quick little child's pose for a drink? Maybe you need to towel off some sweat if you're like us in this warm, humid studio. We love it. We love the hot. Another studio that I do a streaming for said that, oh no, it's too hot in the studio. And I said, not a problem. I'll be there. I love the heat. Connect to your breath. So I know you love the dancing Shiva balance, right? So we'll hit a dancing Shiva this morning. If anyone else has any recommendations or postures that they're really dying to hit this morning, go ahead and comment now that we're taking a little break. And when you're ready, we will return into our downward facing dog by planting our hands back down, tucking the toes under and reaching those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. You can pedal it out a little bit here. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. And then with the exhale, pull right knee in towards the chest. Hover here. Inhale, re-extend and reach. Exhale, knee to chest. Step to your runner's lunge. Coming back to our runner's lunge, hover by picking the chest up, reaching the fingertips back. Choosing to stay here, or we're going to take flight by reaching the left toes up off of the ground. Now the left toes can stay on the ground and you can come into just a little pulsing of lifting that left leg up, or you can keep that foot flexed, peel your chest open, keep the hips level here, warrior three. Breathe in, breathe out. Bring your hands to heart and start to pull that left knee in towards the chest. Very difficult here, but we can do it. You can interlace hands on left thigh and just kind of hold here in a standing wind relieving pose. If that's not working for you, you can always kind of bring your palms underneath right thigh and kind of hold like this. Coming into our dancing Shiva pose, we grasp onto left leg with left arm, open right arm out to the right. That right arm is our counterbalance, so make sure it's nice and engaged. If you're the dancer type, you might grab onto left foot and kick left leg out. Notice, though, if that right hip is kind of dropping out to the right, we don't want to sacrifice the stability of this posture just for our ego. Hold, squeeze that right glute, last breath. And with the exhale, we're coming back to center, dropping left foot to meet right, and then shaking out the legs. Shake them out, give your wrists a little break maybe. And then we'll plant left foot into the ground this time. We're going to find a tree pose on the left side. So left foot plants into the ground. You can bring your hands to heart center and either bringing right toes right down towards the ankle. So this is kind of destination number 1 for your tree pose. It's a little less tricky for your balance. Or you can start to kind of creep that right foot up. You just want to avoid the knee. So the right foot either under the knee or above the knee, but not on the knee. And the beauty of this posture is that you can find this squeezing and locking with the legs by left leg planting like a tree trunk, and then that right sole of the foot is going to press into left leg. So you're finding this locking, this binding. With the last 3 breaths, arms can move in any way that feels lovely. We're in a little maze forest here, mother and daughter forest. You're doing amazing. And release out of it. Shake up those legs. And then we're going to flow to the other side, starting by inhale, circle, sweep those arms, reach up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, stepping or taking a little gentle hop back into your plank pose. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So yoga has a little sneaky plank action, right? Sometimes we squeeze in our abdominal movements throughout our class. Inhale, left leg up to the sky. Exhale, pull left knee into the chest. Another sneaky ab exercise. Inhale, left leg reaches up. Exhale, knee to chest. Step to your runner's lunge. Make sure feet are hip distance apart. Really plug left foot into the ground. Find your hover. Pull the arms back. Chest reaches forward. You can choose to stay here or take flight by starting to pick the right toes up off the ground with a flexed foot. Try to keep that chest open just a touch. Dial right hip down. Notice if it's lifting up and trying to stack on top of left hip. Flex that foot. Bring your hands to your heart, and if you can, pull that right knee back into the chest. And it's okay if you need to come back out of it. You can interlace hands on right thigh, pull the shape in towards the chest, give yourself a little squeeze. You can also just bring the palms underneath right thigh so that you're kind of more of like a hook position rather than a squeeze position. Come into your dancing Shiva, open up right leg out to the right, left arm out to the left. Breathe. If you like to kick that right foot out, you can. Notice if it sacrifices the pose. Try to keep those hips stacked right below shoulders. Squeeze left glute. Slowly come back to center and drop right foot next to left. Mountain pose. Shake it up. Maybe towel off a little bit of sweat. And then we will come into our tree pose on the opposite side. So this time the right foot is planting into the ground, bringing hands to heart, and then taking the left toes to the right ankle and just simply opening up that hip. So this is destination number 1. This is a good location too to notice if you're kind of rocking. I'm making it a little bit dramatic, but rocking into that right hip. You want to try to keep the right hip stacked with right shoulder. If you want to creep that left foot up a little higher, just make sure it doesn't land on the knee. Below or above the knee. We're pressing left foot into the right thigh, and the right leg is so strong that it is holding us in, almost like a little cradle, a little snuggle. One side is probably going to be more challenging than the other, and that's totally normal. Hands can be wherever fits you best. Last breath here. And release out of it. Shake it up, empty coat sleeve from side to side. So balance is a very tricky thing, and it also happens to be right in the middle of the class, which is arguably the hardest part of the class. So it's very important to make sure you kind of continue with your breath throughout class. That's why we take our meditation at the beginning, to start that process of connecting with our breath. When you're ready, coming to the top of your mat, pressing those feet into the ground. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up to the sky. And with the exhale, hinging from the hips, finding a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Hands plant, stepping back to your plank pose. Let's drop down onto our forearm plank here. So drop those forearms to the ground, keep the palms open. You can always drop the knees to the ground here as well. Pull your chest forward, keep a nice open throat here. Breathe in, press back with those heels, engage your thighs. Everything is working here. We got 5 more seconds. 4, 3, stay with it. 2, I believe in you. 1, and let those knees and hips drop to the ground, finding a Sphinx pose. So in your Sphinx pose, I'd prefer you to keep a gentle gaze towards the ground rather than kind of yanking your neck up. Try to keep your chin a little tucked here. And we're using the energy of the forearms on the earth to kind of pull our abdominals apart and really stretch through the belly. Breathe in. Breathe out. Releasing out of your pose, let your chest kind of land on the earth. You might decide to bend the knees and windshield wiper from side to side a couple times. And then we'll come into a quad stretch. So we're going to bring our right forearm underneath the head as a little pillow. And then you can bend left knee, grab onto left foot or ankle, and lengthen that left knee towards the back of the mat. So you'll notice my mom over here is taking a little side variation. So do you take that because it's sensitive on your hips? Yeah. The stretch you're looking for. Yeah, so depending on how open or tight your quads are, you might want to rock onto your side. Sometimes, depending on the type of floor you're on too, this can be a little sensitive on your hip bones, depending on how bony your hip bones are. For me, sometimes if I'm on like a really hard floor with not a lot of cushion, this kind of starts to bruise my hips a little bit. So it might be in your best interest to place a little cloth under there or rock onto your side like Joan over here is doing. It's kind of hard to balance a little bit. And we'll take it to the other side when you're ready. So lengthen left leg, transfer out the arms, grab onto right foot or ankle with a bent knee, and then lengthen that right knee to the back of your mat. Again, if you want to rock onto your side here, that's a great variation. You can access a little bit more deepness because you're not constricted with the ground. One more breath here. And then releasing out of this. Let's windshield wiper legs from side to side one more time just to even it all out. And if you ever wake up with a sore or sensitive lower back, this is a beautiful way to kind of very low impact way of stretching through the lower back, unwinding that connective tissue. Pressing ourselves up into our table pose. Taking any little movements here in your table pose that feel nice. And then our core exercise, we're going to sneak one little last ab exercise in here, coming into our table pose, and then extending the left toes to the back of the mat, keeping the toes on the earth to start, and just kind of pressing back and forth here. So you'll notice my beautiful demonstrator over here put some cushion underneath her knees. So if you are on a hard surface, you might choose to place some cushion underneath that right knee. Let's lift the left toes up off the ground. Keep the heel in line with the hip. Flex your foot. Choose to stay here, or perhaps you want to reach the right arm forward as well. We're going to hold to start for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, stretch the limbs apart from one another. Exhale, elbow into the knee. Inhale, stretch, engage, pull. Exhale, curl and squeeze. 2 more, in and out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, extend to finish it off. And then we're going to plant the right hand on the ground and swing left foot out to the left. Land here and find some back and forth presses. So we're getting into our hip flexor here on the left side. You might even want to linger in one position or the other, so either hinging those hips back. I like to turn my left toes and point them up to the sky, so I'm getting a little bit more of a hamstring stretch. Coming back into your table pose, but keeping that left foot extended out to the left. We're going to come into it. We're going to come out of this pose the opposite way we got into it. So with strength and connection, we're going to lift the left foot up and sweep it behind us, and then land in your table pose. You might choose to sink back onto the heels and just shake those wrists out a moment. We'll take that to the other side. And then I promise, from here out, it's smooth sailing and deep stretches. We're going to start by taking the right toes behind us, keeping the toes on the ground and taking those back and forth presses to access into our calf and the arch of the foot. So this is very important, especially if you're a runner. Make sure we stretch those calves out to prevent any future injuries. And then we will pick the right toes up off the ground, but keep the heel in line with the hip. Maybe, just maybe, the left arm reaches forward. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, peel the limbs apart. Exhale, curl them in. 5 more, in and out. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We follow all the way to a curl and an extend. Drop left hand down and then kick right leg out to the right. Land here and find those beautiful back and forth presses in your half child's pose. So this is great for the hip flexor. You might even linger in one position or the other. You might decide to reach the right toes up, point them up to the sky. Slowly returning back to your table, but keeping that right leg extended. We're going to engage everything here as we pick right foot up off the ground, kick it back, and then land in your table pose. We're going to come into our half pigeon. So if you're coming onto your backs, you can just recline. If you'd like to come into your prone pigeon, we're going to tuck the toes under, lift those hips up for a quick down dog. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. And then with the exhale, pull right knee towards right wrist, landing in your prone pigeon. So in your prone pigeon, it's very important that that right thigh is parallel to the long edge of the mat. You might choose to bring a block underneath right glute so that you're kind of a little bit more lifted and supported. Another great option is just bending that left knee out to the left so that you're in more of a seated position. Wherever you are, we're going to spend about 5 to 6 breaths here. So if you want to keep your chest lifted and open for a couple, and then maybe hinge forward and relax for a couple. We'll be here for 5 more breaths. I like to take a block underneath my forehead so that I can kind of rest my neck and shoulders. It's very common in this pose to tense through the shoulders and neck. It's a great idea to just relax into it. Send that breath into your right hip flexor. Let's take 2 more breaths. To come out of this, slowly start to prop yourself up. Bring your hands to the ground, tuck left toes under, downward facing dog. Take any little wiggles here that you need before finding it on the left side. Eventually, left leg reaches up, and then the left knee towards left wrist, sitting into your pigeon pose. Again, you might choose to bring that block this time underneath left hip, or this time you might open right knee out to the right. Find whatever version is best for you to hold for a couple breaths. Again, you might choose to keep that chest open for a couple, and then hinge forward. Perhaps resting your head on a block or pillow. And letting your breath relax you into this pose even further. Each exhale is just an opportunity to relax and soften. About 4 more breaths here. Slowly starting to pick yourself back up. Let's visit our downward facing dog just to round it out by tucking the right toes under, hips pull up and back. And then dropping those knees to the ground, laying all the way down onto your back. Taking a nice full body stretch here once you arrive. And then pulling the knees into the chest, giving yourself a squeeze. Perhaps a gentle little rocking side to side to massage the left and right sides of your back. Keeping right knee pulled into the chest and either extending left sole of the foot to the earth or extending left leg long down your mat. Finding our wind relieving posture in a reclined position. You might choose to rotate right ankle. This is a great posture for our digestive system. Our internal organs are detoxifying as we gently squeeze in our belly. Taking the right leg and crossing it up and over to the left, finding some comfortable variation of a reclining twist. So I like to take a block and place it underneath right knee so it's a little bit more supported and not just floating. My mom is taking the variation with both knees stacked and having a block in between them. We'll be here for 3 breaths. Breathe and release. Breathe and release. Last one. Coming back to center, pulling both knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then keeping left knee pulled into the chest, either bringing the right sole of the foot to the earth or extending it all the way down your mat. Squeezing the left side of our body this time, so we're accessing a whole new set of internal organs and different side of our intestines. This is a huge component of yoga, is what it does for our internal organs, our cardiovascular system, our skeletal system. So much of it is internal. Turning this into your twist by letting that left leg lengthen over to the right. And I love taking a wind relieving pose and then following it up with a twist, because our twist is also kind of wringing out our spine. So you know how when you have a cloth filled with water and you kind of twist it and all of the fluid comes out? This is kind of what we're doing for our spine and our internal organs, just kind of gently squeezing and wringing them out, getting rid of any toxins. 2 more breaths in and out. Coming back to center and taking any last posture of your choice or any movement that makes you feel super comfortable for your final resting pose of the day or of the class, rather. Once you're ready, arriving into your final resting pose. Letting a wave of breath come over you once again. Taking note of all of the beautiful benefits that you've created for this body. And just taking a moment in gratitude. Thank you, Earth. Thank you, water. Thank you, yoga mat. Thank you, body. Thank you, heart. Thank you, home. Thank you, family and friends. Thank you, food. Thank you, sun. Thank you, moon. Thank you, life. Shanti. 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 And taking a deep breath in and letting it go. Again, in and out. Slowly starting to reawaken through your physical body, perhaps wiggling the fingers and toes, maybe pulling the knees into the chest and coming into a gentle fetal position on one side or the other. Taking the next 2 to 3 breaths to slowly lift yourself back into your meditative seat. Bringing your hands over heart and together repeat these words. Thank you, Earth. Thank you, water. Thank you, food. Thank you, community. Thank you, body. And together we'll seal our practice in with the sound of Om, taking a cleansing breath to prepare in and out. And for Om in. Thank you all for being a part of each other's journey as well as mine. The love that resides within me bows to the love within you. Namaste. Thank you guys all so much. A big thank you to Joan, my mom, for coming in this morning. I was so happy to guide you guys through this yoga class. Thanks, Tom. Um, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning. So hopefully we'll really nail those crescent lunge twists that we've been working on this week. Those are super fun, and I hope you guys are enjoying them as well. Just a little variation. You know, sometimes we get stuck in the same patterns. It's good to just kind of switch the mind up a little bit and have us try something new. All right, so I will see you guys tomorrow morning, and I think I have Mirari with me tomorrow morning, so looking forward to seeing you guys there. Take care. Namaste.